particular part, how project is implemented. I mean, what is the steps to it and how do they start about it. Okay, so we are going to discuss about it, and once we discuss it, you will certainly understand what do we have here in this document. Okay, basically there are two core teams, right? Let's say we have a company here. In this particular example, we have a company that have presence in two countries basically, right? So let's say if this particular company decides to implement, guys, give me just 1 minute, then we'll continue.
Good morning, guys. गुड मॉर्निंग। रजत कहाँ थे? लेट आए आप? यार सोया हुआ था।
Okay, I'm sorry guys, let's continue. Okay, so I was trying to explain about this particular business blueprint that I'm going to share with you all. So I want you guys to go through this particular document. At least that will give you idea ki what exactly we are supposed to do. Here in this particular example, they are discussing about a company that has a presence in two different countries basically. And see what happens is that let's say this company is going to form their own core team. Let's say this company have approached TCS for implementing this SAP project. So yes, even TCS is going to form another core team, and both these core team are going to sit together and discuss. I mean, we call this particular phase as a project preparation phase. This is the first phase that we have to follow, or this is what we have in ASAP methodology. Okay, so it starts with project preparation where they are going to, both the core teams are going to discuss about the projects, and the core team, TCS ka core team, then based on it is going to decide what exact enterprise structure we need to set up to map this particular business. And the document that they prepare, the business blueprint document, the core team prepares, this is what the document looks like. Or you can say this is what, this is how you get a requirement from the customer. You have to go through it, and then accordingly you have to decide what needs to be configured or what needs to be developed around it. That's what the idea is of any project, whether it is a implementation project, rollout project, or support project basically. So I'm going to share this document on Skype link itself. Okay, you all can download this particular document. Yes, is there any question? Any question? Okay. Okay, let's continue. So I'm going to share this document, and apart from this, we are supposed to cover all this particular syllabus that has been shared with the shared with me. Basically, they don't share this syllabus with you all, and I'm not sure whether you all have this or not. But anyways, I'm going to share this document as well with you all. So even you should be aware what exactly we are going to cover. Now, all these topics are already covered during the course. ASAP methodology is not covered, but rest everything is covered. And why they have mentioned this particular processes in here? Reason is very simple, because questions are going to be based on this particular processes only. But there is a pattern that they follow during the interview. I'm sure most of you might have already gone through the interview uh, session. I mean, at least one interview of you must have already been done. Few of you must might have already been selected as well. uh, but I mean, we are going to cover what 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 particular pattern they follow in the interview. I mean, you guys might relate it to when I go through that pattern. You might relate yourself with that particular pattern. You might have already gone through that pattern during your interview sessions. So in short, basically, we are not going to try to execute the project that we have in BB document, business blueprint document. Why? Because to execute that particular project, we need a complete team, right? Even though if we have a complete team, it is still not possible to execute a complete project within the 40 hours. Even if we execute a project, that is not going to help you all to learn anything, that is for sure. So instead of focusing on execution of project, let's try to understand what all things are important from project, from interview point of view. Let's try to cover the topics that have been already covered, but in little bit different way. That is going to 100% add in your knowledge, right? I mean, your instructor might have already explained it to you. Okay, what do we have? I mean, since you guys are certified, I'm sure you might have already gone through all the all the content that we have basically. But when I go through it, I'm sure you will find something new in it. When I will explain topic in little bit different perspective, I'm sure you are going to understand lot many new things in there. So apart from that, if you feel anything that needs to be covered extra, we will do that as well. I mean, like I said before, that most of you might have already gone through the interview process, and you might have come across some unusual questions as well. So we can discuss about them as well. We can discuss about other topics as well during the sessions itself. Okay, we'll try to make sessions as interactive as possible. In case you have any questions, any queries, you can directly call me, you can drop me message, or we can discuss during the sessions itself. I don't mind. Okay, so that's how we are going to follow the overall course. If you have any other plans, if you have any other suggestions, your suggestions and opinions are always welcome. Okay, so we will certainly try to consider your suggestions and opinions as well. Okay, so that's how I plan to go about this particular internship course. Okay, and let me know if you have any questions, queries. We can discuss about them. If you see, I'm Marathi, so I understand Marathi as well very well. So in case you are not comfortable talking in English, Hindi, I'm open to discuss in Marathi as well. I mean, of course, on the calls, not here in the sessions. Okay. So in case you have any problems speaking in any other language, so you can certainly discuss with me in your mother tongue as well. I don't mind. Okay, okay. So fine. I guess you guys don't have any questions, so let's continue. So basically, before we start, I mean, I have shared the syllabus with you. I'm going to share the documents with you, and so before we start with the uh, course or what content that we have in 4 books, let us try to understand few other details regarding SAP. So Let's try to understand what exact difference is between SAP ECC, SAP HANA and SAP S4 HANA. Okay, that will kind of I mean, that is the interview question as well, basic interview question as well. See, they will start off interviews by asking you to introduce yourself. I mean, that is the basic first question. Can you introduce yourself? I mean, not mandatory that every interview will have the introduction session, but mostly 99% will interviews will certainly have an introduction session. And there are only two ways through which they are going to select the candidate. Either candidate has to be technically very correct, or candidate has to be communication wise very correct. I mean, these are the only two criteria based on which you are going to get selected. Either you have to be technically outstanding, or you have to be communication has to be outstanding. Okay, they need both type of consultants. Basically they need someone who is good technically as well, and someone who is good in communications as well. Being a consultant, you are going to be continuously in touch with the business. You are going to be continuously discuss about business with the business, basically with the partners basically. And they want candidate who can communicate with businesses or with the customers or partners, I can say, not customers. So communication wise, they are always looking out for a candidate communication wise who are very good. So that is always a great chance. In case if you have very good communication skill, you can always project those skills during your introduction itself. And that is exactly why they will ask you to introduce yourself. I mean, during that particular part of introduction session, they will try to understand your communication skills. If you hit a sixer during your introduction session itself, you can you can be absolutely assured that you will be selected. If you are communication wise, if you are good, they won't look into your technical ability in that situation. If communication wise, if you are good, they won't really go into details of technical questions. See, as I said, they need both type of consultant. Communication wise, they need strong consultant. Technically, they also need strong consultant. If you have both the skills, then good for you. If you are good in one of the skills, then try to project those skills during your interview. That is exactly what they are checking for. They will start off with introduction of yourself. Make sure you have a at least minimum 1 to 1.5 minute ka introduction. So let them let them say, okay, fine, stop it. Don't stop your introduction within 30 seconds. That my name is so and so. Uh, I have studied this and this, and I have certified during this particular time period. So don't end your introduction in 2 to 3 lines. Make sure you have at least 1 and 1.5 minute ka, at least I'm saying 1.5 minute ka introduction. Now freshers can include their academics ka experience in that introduction. I mean, you can also include your family background in there, just to uh, increase the time period of introduction basically. So uh, you can mention your what you have done during the academics. Try to give them this particular impression how good team player you were during your academics. Try to try to give me just 1 second. So try to give this particular impression how much good team player you were during your academics, or try to give this impression that you have handled a team, whatever team it may be. I mean, in colleges you might have this particular team like uh, social team, or other lot many teams you do have in the colleges that will look after different activities regarding student, regarding management and student, parents and students, or parents and management. Lot many teams you guys have during the colleges. So try to give that impression how much good, uh, how well you handle that particular team, or how you were leading that particular team, what all you did as a captain of that team. So give this impression you are someone who is ready to take responsibility who have already taken a responsibility in past, who can work individually, who can take responsibility, who can execute um, whatever responsibility is given. Try to give this particular impression in the interviews. Even if you have to fake it, doesn't mind. I mean, that's what we do in interviews, right? We fake lot many things. So when you fake things, make sure it should sound very much original. So even if you have to fake it, don't try to exaggerate anything. If you try to see, interviewers are very smart, to be very honest. All of them must now, freshers का interview will be taken by 5+ years का experience वाला consultant, right? Little bit experience will be taken by 10 years plus का interviewers. Most of the time, even you guys will get 10+ years का experience वाला interviewer only. So basically these guys are very very smart. So don't don't try to, what do you say, in a very straightforward word, don't try to act smart in front of them. To be very frank, because they have gone through lot many interview processes. They have seen lot many candidates like you. Okay, so I mean, lot many times what happens, I mean, I get this feedback from students that, sir, my interview didn't lasted even for 5 minutes or 10 minutes. So that doesn't mean that interviewer is not interested in you. I mean, that, sorry, that doesn't mean that interviewer has some bias for you. So that certainly means that key within first 2 to 3 question itself, interviewer have found that key, there is no meaning in going into details. So that's why your interview was over between 5 to 10 minutes itself. So try to understand this particular fact. I mean, don't try to just blame it on interviewers, that interviewer is been biased, or maybe they already had some candidate in mind. Okay, so try to find a fault at your side. Maybe you might have done something wrong, or maybe you might have answered something. Or see, they will start off with the basic questions, as I told you earlier. They will start off with um, introduction of yourself. Then they will go on with, what do you understand by SAP? What is SAP? What is SAP HANA? Or are you aware about NetWeaver, SAP NetWeaver, right? Or what is SAP Business Suite? Or what why did you came into IT? Lot many of you are not from the IT background. Lot many of you have some other engineering background, or other academics ka background, right? So this question is certainly going to come across you all. See, what brings you in IT, or why SAP, or what is SAP ERP, or what is ERP. So these are the basic question. If you are going to fumble in this basic question itself, then that particular interviewer is not at all interested in asking further questions. So that's how it works. Okay, so it will start by your introduction, followed by basic questions that I discussed just now. If it goes well, then they will move on with SAP questions. What is organizational structure, or what is enterprise structure, right? Or what do you understand by or what is determination, how plant is determined, how shipping point is determined, what is route determination, item category, scheduling category, right? Storage location, doors, staging area, right? Storage type, lot many warehouse number. We do have lot many determination in the system. During this particular during this particular phase itself, they are also going to cross question you on the assignment as well. I mean, we do have assignment between various organizational units, right? So assignments and determination, they will ask both during this particular time period. Once you are done through this assignments and determination logics ka question, they will start asking you about uh, different business processes that we have in the system, right? Now we do have a lot many business processes. We have consignment process, free goods process, assembly process, right? Lot many business processes we have. For every business process, we use different document types, right? That is what the basic of SAP is. Since we use different document types, different item category, different schedule line category triggers in your order itself. Together order type, item category and schedule line category का configuration से we control a particular process. That's what we understand in the basic SAP. So they are going to question regarding different business processes. They might ask you to explain that particular process within SAP, or they might ask you to explain that same process in a layman's term or in a non-SAP environment. So they will certainly question you about different business, 2 to 3 business processes. They might ask you to define a particular business process, or they might ask you to differentiate between different business processes as well. Like, this is the favorite question. They will ask you to differentiate between cash sales and rush order, or they might ask you to differentiate between rush order and normal standard order. So these are kind of basic questions they going to ask. Or they see even the backward scheduling, forward scheduling, these are important topics that they are going to question you on. Now once you are done through business processes ka question, they are going to start you, they will certainly ask you customizing related questions. Here they might ask you about um, let's say pricing procedure ka question on what are the 16 attributes that we have in pricing procedure, or what is condition technique, right? So basically configuration customizing related questions, or document type related customizing question, item category customizing question, they will ask you regarding it. And then once you are done, once you are through with all this question, they might see some interviewers, if they like a candidate, if they find a right candidate in you, they might also check your uh, breaking point as well. I mean, unless you don't break down, they will keep on asking you tough questions. So that's how your interview session will long. Your interview session has to long at least 35 minutes, 30 to 35 minutes, minimum 30 minutes. Every single interview that you give has to last at least 30 minutes. Only then you can be assured that you will be selected. So basically 30 minutes ka time period, I mean, you can take that as a reference point, that every interview has to last almost 30 minutes. 30 minutes, it will certainly take 30 minutes uh, for an interviewer to ask question, or it will certainly take 30 minutes for you to answer other question, all the questions that they are going to shoot at you, basically. So this is how the interview ka pattern is. I have been in lot many interview panels. So, and what happens is that they share the project details with us before interviews, and they also share set of questions regarding that particular project. If I myself working on that particular project, then they don't need to share any documents with me. I know what is the project requirement, and accordingly I'm going to question the candidate. But sometimes what happens is not every time you will have a senior consultant from same project to interview you. So many a times other available senior consultants will be there as an interviewer. So in that situation, company is going to share a set of questions with them, what is the requirement and what needs to be asked, and based on it they are going to question you. Now there is another thing within you all, within the trainees, is that sir, share some interview questions with us. See, there are no set of such interview questions. Each interview is different. Every project is different. It is something like what doctors and lawyers do, right? They do practice all their life. Every single case that they have is something new, right? So that's why they say that we are practicing. It is some or somewhat same to with us as well. Every project of us is different, completely different from what you have already worked. So you can't really say that you are expert in that. See, whatever that you have learned in SAP SDK course is they have covered A to Z during that particular course itself. I'm talking about standard SAP is this. They have covered complete standard SAP is this concept basically in the course. And when you move into the project, you won't be working on the standard SAP. Every project have their own development, every project have their own configuration that they have done around this particular um, standard SAP model, right? Every single project, nobody is going to use the standard SAP. Everybody will use, everybody is going to do some configuration or development as per their requirement. And to understand those development and those configuration that they have done around standard SAP, you guys need to understand what is standard SAP. And that's what that is exactly what you have done during the course. They have covered the standard SAP A to Z, basically whatever that we are supposed to do as a consultant. All the aspects are already covered in that course. Now thing is that you won't be working on all the aspects once you move into the project. You will be working on limited aspects only, and you are going to gain expertise in that particular aspect itself. So that's how it works. Okay, so there are, that's why you don't really have any set of interview questions. It depends upon project to project. Now some project will focus on HDPP integrations. I mean, when I was in HP, we had HDPP platform from where we used to create orders basically, right? When I was in TCS, we had SDMM ka integration. That was the manufacturing unit. I mean, um, so that project was little bit different. In other projects, their requirement was different. Now since S4 HANA is introduced, you guys won't be working on SD itself. You are going to your, or you are supposed to work on SD, MM and PP part of it. So there are no such set of interview question. Every interview is different, and they might ask you anything that you have covered during the course. So instead of focusing on set of questions or set of important questions, what we are going to do is that we are going to cover everything that we have covered during the course in faster way, of course, because you guys are already aware of what do we have in the course, right? So I'm going to run through all the units or chapters diagram wise that we have there, or maybe we are just going to refresh our memories by looking into the um, looking in the index basically. And through that we are going to understand what you have covered in standard SAP, and then we'll move on. So once we start with it, you all will realize what we are trying to do. But before we start it, I want you all to be very clear key what exactly our focus is going to be. Don't just don't just try to focus on trying to implement or trying to execute a project. That is certainly not going to help you in any what do you say, in any interviews basically. Nor does that particular experience of yours is going to help you in the project as well, because as I said earlier, every single project is different. Every project have their own requirements. So whatever that we are going to do in the while executing a project, I'm sure you won't get anything to see there in the project. Okay, few guidelines. I mean, the way project is implemented or the way the project is managed, those things are going to stay common, right? And they are not really that important for you all. I mean, that is not really important for interview sake. So that is how the approach is going to be. So in case you have any questions, we can discuss about your queries questions here. Okay, okay. So let me try to check what do we have here. This is the introduction to SAP ERP. I mean, see, I'm going to share this document with you, introduction to SAP ERP. Now you guys are already aware about what is ERP, what is SAP, but still what happens is that key, this is the first question that they are going to throw at you. Ki what is SAP or what is ERP or what brings you in SAP, right? So this is, of course, document is already available online, but there are lot many documents that are available online. So don't go through all the documents that you have online. So that is certainly going to create a lot of confusion. Instead, try to refer to these documents only that I'm going to share with you, right? So SAP, why SAP? Because this is the full form of SAP in German, and this is what it means in English. It means system applications and products in data processing. That's why SAP. Okay. Next, let's see what else we have when it was started, right? uh, I mean, go through this PPT, particular PPT. Okay, this will certainly help you understand what is SAP, what is ERP, when it was introduced, and what exactly it has been doing at this point of time, or how it is helping various business owners to improve their businesses or to increase their businesses, right? So you can go through this particular introduction. Next, when it was started, this is a very old document. Now, SAP ERP is not the only ERP in the market, right? There is SAP Barnes, Ramco, right? Oracle, PeopleSoft, JD Edwards, and many other. Nowadays, you also have mobile apps as well. Even even the Tally is a potential ERP only. I mean, they call it as a Tally ERP, but it only focuses on FI part, right? I mean, what I'm trying to explain is that SAP is not the only ERP in the market. There are lot many ERPs, but each and every single ERP that you have in market will focus on a particular area only, right? I mean, PeopleSoft will focus on HR part of it. JD Edwards, again, it will focus on HR and sales part. Ban and Ramco will focus more on procurement. No, so what I'm trying to explain is that only SAP ERP focuses on end-to-end solution, or only SAP ERP provides end-to-end solution. No other ERP provides end-to-end solution, and that is the major reason why a business will go for SAP. So you might come across this particular question: why would a business want to implement only SAP and not any other ERP? So this is the reason why only SAP is going to provide you end-to-end solution. Apart from that, nobody else provides you end-to-end solution. So this is the main point within it, basically. And of course, that is exactly why it is a market leader, right? It provides end-to-end solution to more than 100 businesses. I mean, I'm just talking, it should be more well than 200 businesses, but that is how it is. So whether it is a manufacturing unit, whether it is a service industry, whether it is a petrochemical industry, whether it is a retail industry, right? SAP provides solution to more than 100 different industry, and not just a solution for a single particular module or a single department, but SAP ERP in fact provides solution, end-to-end solution. Now, whatever setup it might be, let's say if I'm talking about a manufacturing unit, that means they must be having a procurement department, right? Who are going to procure different raw materials or finished products so that you can sell them, right? So MM, I'm talking about MM team, right? So you'll be having a procurement team, you will be having a sales team, you will be having a PP team. Now, since we are discussing about a manufacturing unit, so you will be having a PP team as well, right? So either you might be procuring a raw material and then you are manufacturing the end product and selling it, or you are procuring material as it is, you are rebranding it, repacking it, and then you are selling it, or you are procuring components and you are assembling the product and then you are selling it. So these are the only three ways through which you can procure the material and then you can sell it, right? So now, this being a manufacturing unit, you will certainly have a procurement department, you will have a shop floor department where production will be done, right? You will be having a sales team to sell the product, you will be having a finance team who will manage the finance, right? So these are the core modules that we have in SAP: FI, SD, MM, and PP, and ABAP technically. So uh, these are the 4 5 teams, departments that we have, core departments in the manufacturing unit or any other unit, you can say, right? So to understand S4 HANA, you guys have to be certified in one of these core modules, only then you will be able to understand S4 HANA. Or in other words, I can say to understand S4 HANA, you have to be certified in one of these particular core modules. Other modules that we have, whether it is PM, PS, QM, CS, JTS, Vistex, WM, right, or TM, all these other modules work around these particular core modules only. Or in other words, I can say all these other modules have generated or have taken birth from this modules itself, core module itself. All of them are part of this, like JTS, Global Trade Services, or Vistex, or Customer Services, CS. All these are modules only, but they all have taken. I mean, all they are part of SD only. Earlier, we used to execute all these processes from sales and distribution only. Now, time after that, slowly SAP have separated all these modules. Okay, so this now the example that we are discussing is about a manufacturing unit, right? So this manufacturing unit is going to base, compulsory or basically will be having this basic structure, this basic departments within it, and for every department they need some system to work around, to execute that particular activity from that particular department, right? So for sales and distribution, sales process is the important process, and we do have 5 phases in this particular sales process, and during every phase we create document. Likewise, even have their own processes to execute. Even they have their own stages to execute, or steps to execute, phases to execute. Same goes with PP, same goes with FI, same goes with CS, ABAP, or whatever it may be. Everybody have their own documents to create, right? So that is what the basic is. So that is exactly why everyone needs a particular software. And instead of getting different software for different departments, or I can rather say module as well. So modules are nothing but your departments only, or the work areas that you have in a non-SAP environment, right? For all these different processes, we different departments, we call these departments as a module here in SAP. So we do have various modules like SD, PP, HR, FI, CS, lot many. I mean, you can segregate these uh, modules in technical module and functional module, basically. ABAP, BASIS, BIBW, all these are technical modules, right? Rest all of them are, sorry, functional module. Sorry. Okay. So you can segregate all the modules uh, as a technical module, or you can call them as a functional module. So basically, you guys are functional consultants, right? So functional answers are expected from you. Now, what is functional answer and what is technical answer? See, I'm going to distinguish between these two. Being a functional consultant, a functional answer is expected from you during the interviews. And what do I mean by that? I'm going to explain it once we move on with the content, basically. So always remember this, try to answer functionally. In case they want you to elaborate, then they will certainly ask you, can you explain in details, or can you elaborate this? Then only you have to move on to the technical part of it. Let's say uh, for for example purpose, this is very common question during interviews: what is SDFI integration, right? So what is SDFI integration? Now technical answer of it is that key, most of people do is that key, they try to explain answer technically. So basically whatever that they have executed during the course, they try to explain that only. So this is not what is expected. Like, let's say SDFI integration made, a lot many candidates, what they do is they start answering that key, when we create billing document or when the accounting document is generated, we get to see the GL accounts, or system determines the GL accounts for various pricing elements, right? We have done the configuration, we have created the condition technique, or FI team have created a condition technique, and then system identifies the GL account for every element. So we have done the configuration in SPRO for the same. So what you are saying is not wrong at all. I mean, of course, it is correct. So basically, what you are doing is ki whatever that you have seen in the course, you are trying to explain exactly that same thing only. So that is not what is expected from you. See, functional answer for SDFI integration, this is how it goes. So basically, when we create the order itself, we do get to see various pricing elements. So pricing of any material or pricing of any line item is dependent on four pricing element. The price of the line item in the transaction, the discount or the surcharge that is applicable on the line item, the tax that is applicable on the line item, and the freight that is applicable on the line item. So whether in SAP or whether in a non-SAP environment, pricing of a pricing of a line item, or the net value of the line item, or the net value of the order is dependent on four pricing element. So when you create order, system determines record for all these elements. If you have maintained it, only then system will identify it. So out of these four pricing elements, only price is mandatory. Rest all of them are optional, right? So they may trigger or they might not trigger in every transaction. So basically, when you create order, system is going to determine records for these elements, and this pricing record transfers on the billing document as well, right? I mean, let's say we have four pricing elements: price, discount, surcharge, freight, and the tax. So when I save the billing document, system determines GL account for each of this particular pricing element, and that's what we get to see in the accounting document, right? The way system determines this particular GL account for every element, system uses a condition technique for it. When we create the billing document, system generates the accounting entry. That is what the SDFI integration point is, right? Where our process ends, FI process starts from there. And that is what the SDFI integration is. And this is what the functional answer for the same. In case they ask you to elaborate, then you can explain the configuration part of it. Then you can explain ki we have maintained, we have created, we are, let's say we have maintained account determination procedure in the billing type itself. So what happens due to that, when we try to create that particular billing document, system is going to identify the procedure, account determination procedure that is assigned in it. Then once the system gets to know the procedure, system is going to execute the condition technique. It will go inside the procedure, it will check the condition type within it, it will go into the condition technique, it will go inside the condition type and will check access sequence within it. It will go inside the access sequence and check the accesses within it. And one by one, system is going to access every single key within the access sequence. And if there is a record, system is going to trigger that record. And that's how the technical answer is. So try to explain the concept functionally, because we are functional consultant. If they want us to elaborate, they will certainly ask you, can you elaborate further, or can you explain the configuration part of it? Only then move on to the configuration or technical part. Don't try to explain answers through configuration, or don't try to explain answers that you have uh, executed during the practical sessions. Okay, so anyways, you will certainly understand the difference between functional answer and technical answer, what exactly it means. I mean, I'm certainly going to explain those things as well. Okay, so let's move on. Let's see what else we have in here. The company ka main product, right? We are trained in supply chain management, right? The course name is TSCM, right? TSCM 60 and TSCM 62. You guys are trained in TSCM 60 and 62. TSCM as in training in supply chain management. Okay, so we are part of supply chain management, right? Apart from this, SAP ERP has other products as well. I mean, you guys might have heard about CRM, customer relationship management, and or you might have also heard about EP, which is very much new compared to others, right? So Basically, these are the products that SAP offers, and there are a lot many other products as well. You can go through them. Okay, this is good side. I mean, good PPT basically that will give you idea ki what is SAP or what is SAP ERP, what is business suite or what are the different products that SAP offer. So when you go in project, you might get to see CRM, you might get to see supply chain management, EP as well. EP is very much common nowadays, right? Business warehouse as well. Business warehouse is important only if you are working in ECC. Otherwise, S4HANA might not have a BWBI part, or maybe they might be working on some other aspect. Okay, so let's not discuss about it. But these are the products that SAP offer. So you can go through this particular uh, explanation. Now, this particular diagrams that we have in this particular PPT, you don't have to go through this diagram. If you want, you can go through it. Okay, but don't waste your time in it. Okay, just try to take a overview of it. Okay, so let's see what else we have. R3. Why? I mean, before ECC. Now you all have been trained on ECC. Very important. I mean, during the during first set of question itself, they might ask you ki, on which server are you trained. I hope all of you are already aware on what server you have trained, right? In case you are not aware, let me try to repeat it. You all are trained on SAP ECC, right? ECC, what is ECC? We are going to understand that. So you all are trained in ECC 6.0, enhancement pack 7 or 8 might be. I mean, you can uh, let me check whether I am logged in. Yeah, so you can check your enhancement pack here. ECC enhancement pack 7 pay. You guys have already got a training, so they might ask you this same question during the interview. What server you are trained on? Okay. Next, so before ECC, we were using R3. Now, what is difference between R3, ERP, HANA, S4 HANA? I have another document for that, which I'm going to share with you all. Go through that in case you get a question. What is it? I mean, nowadays you certainly get this question. Can you differentiate between S4 HANA and normal ECC, or what do you understand by S4 HANA? See, eventually, each and every one of you, once you move into project, each and every one of you are going to work on S4 HANA only. Some might immediately get a chance to work on it, some might get a chance to work on it later, but every single one of you are going to work on S4 HANA. Okay, because by 2026 SAP is going to stop all the support to ECC. They already they have completely moved on S4 HANA, or but this particular time period they have extended for the businesses who have not transferred on S4 HANA yet. Basically, earlier they had this particular time of 2022. So by 2022, they were supposed to stop all the support to ECC, but now they have extended it up to 2026. So today or tomorrow, you are supposed to work on HANA itself. So there are every chances that you might come across a question regarding HANA. I mean, they won't ask you what do you have in S4 HANA, but they are certainly going to ask you ki what is difference between S4 HANA, or what is difference between uh, S4 HANA and ECC, or what is difference between S4 HANA and simple HANA. So they might ask you that as well. So anyways, we are going to see that. So R3 is not really important. They might not ask you any question regarding R3, but this is good to know wala knowledge. I mean, if you go through this particular document that I'm going to share, if you know what is R3, you will understand what is ERP. If you know ERP, you will certainly understand S4 HANA very properly. So go through this information. Let's see what else we have. So basically this was three layer architecture. That's why we used to call it as R3. So in case you get a question, what do you understand by R3? You can just answer this particular three layers that we have in there. All you have to do is that you have to just say that it is a real-time three-tier architecture where we have three layer of presentation layer, application layer, and database layer. That's it. That is the only answer that is expected from you. If you answer this much, they won't ask you anything further. I mean, even they are aware that you are not a technical consultant, but at least whether you are aware about these facts or not, or you have just gone through the curriculum and then you have certified. So that's why they kind of ask this particular question during the introduction section itself. I mean, during the first part of the interview itself. Okay, so go through this particular information. Again, you don't need to by heart anything. Okay, so these are the core modules that we have: MM, FI, SD, PP. Every other module will revolve around this particular one of this particular module basically. Then we have ABAP and BASIS, which are technical team, right? So this is what it is. See, here you can see the three layers basically: first layer, second layer, and third layer, right? So we are basically on the presentation layer. This is where we work. Then we have the application layer, and then we have the database layer. You don't have to go into the technical part of it. I'm repeating this particular thing again because focus should be completely on logical part, I mean functional part of it. This is just to help you understand the logic. That's it. So we do have various teams in a project like SAP, SD, MM, PP. I'm talking about a manufacturing unit. Let me discuss about a project where I was working in TCS. I was supporting ABB project and I was supporting US geography and Mexico geography. So this is how we had the team setup. We had a team here in Thane, Mumbai. We had we used to call that team as a on-site, sorry, off-site team, right? Offshore team basically. And then we had a team that was in USA, right? At customer location. We used to call that team as a on-site team. And then we had a team in Mexico as well, right? All of them were support team only. And project was huge project. ABB project was the huge project. I mean, is a huge project basically, even today in TCS. So Mexico ka team, we used to call them near offshore team. So we had 24 by 7 ka support to this particular project. In case any queries or any question used to log in, we were supposed to reply to that, or we were supposed to provide solution within a time frame. I mean, basically every project is going to have some SLA, service level agreement, right? Where they'll be having these particular conditions. I mean, if a query or if a ticket is raised by customer, we as a support team are supposed to reply back to that particular query or question immediately. I mean, we do have a time period for that. So once the ticket is logged in, depends upon project to project. Okay, once the ticket is logged in, first of all you have to acknowledge that ticket by getting in touch with the user, by letting him or her know that you are working on this particular ticket. And in case if you have any queries, you will come back to them. Kind of acknowledgement mail has to be sent by you, and then you will be starting working on it, right? So we had these three teams, and everywhere we have the complete pack of, what do you say, pack of all the modules basically. Here in offshore in Thane, we had SAP, SD, MM, PP, right? FI, HR, right? We had SAP Basis, BI, BW, ABAPers. We also had EPICA consultant as well. And every single module may we have at least five consultants basically. I mean, SD and MM both were team size were bigger than compared to others. I mean, we had 6 to 7 consultant in SD only in offshore. I mean, I'm not talking about near offshore and on-site team. Okay, and we had 4 to 5 consultant at least in every module, whereas SD and MM had a little bit bigger size team size, and that's how the model of that particular team was. Every team generates their own uh, revenue basically. Every single team generates their own revenue, and that's why they are so much particular while choosing candidate. See, when they select you, they try to select on this particular criteria only. How much time this candidate is going to take to become productive. I mean, they cannot afford uh, to pay you without any reason for 3 months, 4 months. I mean, your training won't last long for 3 months, 4 months. In first month itself, you have to become productive to that particular team. That is what the expectations are. Now, since you are certified, so once you move into project, you will get a week, week or 4 to 5 days ka KT session. They will try to explain what is the project, and then they will certainly expect a productivity from you basically. So that's how it works. And see, that's why the interview, that's why they have this particular pattern of interview. So they don't want to waste their time in training you, right? They want someone who is eager to learn, who is eager to train by himself or by herself, basically. Spoon feeding and all those things does not really work in projects. I mean, there are certainly seniors in there who will certainly help you in case you have any questions or queries, but that certainly has a limitation. I mean, you cannot expect a spoon feeding from your senior consultants for sure. Okay, so there will be a restriction, there will be a fine line, or I should rather say there you have to do monkey balancing over there. Okay, so anyways, we will discuss about that as well. So this is what the SAP basis team is. It is a technical team. Okay, next, what do we have in here? Adapt team. Fine. And these are the streams of SAP basically. Either you are going to be a technical consultant, you are going to be a functional consultant, or you are going to be a admin. Now this admin is who all, I mean, admin is management basically. See, in every project there are two streams basically. I mean, not two streams, we certainly have a three streams, but let's focus on two stream. Two stream as in, one stream is into the management, another stream is completely uh, into the solving problems basically. Management team is not going to look into any tickets, they are not going to provide any solution, they will manage the project, right? Discussion with customer, meetings with customer, and whatever it may be. This admin team or management team are supposed to do that. Now, if if anyone, if if you are MBA, right, you can certainly think on going into the management part of it. I mean, they they won't really ask you whether you want to be a manager or what, but your interest will certainly take you in that particular stream basically. So you will understand that once you move into the project, how to get into the team management, or what needs to be done to get into team management, so that you will understand. Functional consultant and technical consultant will go on to the senior most post, but they don't really manage the project. They will manage the team, they will manage the technical part of it, everything. I mean, business, when I say business, business means customer, okay, but we won't really call them as a customer here, we call them as a business. So business certainly is aware about who you are. You are a senior consultant and trying, and you are handling SD projects or SD part, but management discussion and everything will be done with admin people only. Okay, so these are the three streams basically that you have in SAP. So once you start gaining experience, it is up to you where you want to focus. Sometimes, see, there are a lot many candidates who are good in functional and technical as well. So once you move into project, if you are good in coding, you can certainly think on learning ABAP. That will help you achieve techno functional consultant ka label basically. Techno functional consultant has lot of demand in projects. I mean, they are someone who can work individually, there is no dependency. I mean, they can work without any help basically. Whereas we as a functional consultant, When we start working, we lot many times we need help of ABAP. Techno functional consultant, they can work by themselves. So if you are good in coding, you can certainly think on learning ABAP basically. Okay. So this is what we have streams. These are the streams that we have in SAP, right? So again, what exactly we do in these streams? We are part of logistics, like I mean together SD, PP, MM, WM, TM, QM, CS, PS, PM. Together, all these modules form a logistic part of a company, right? So that's why we are part of logistics. All our settings will be maintained in logistics only, right? Then you have HR part and finance part as well. Let's not go into detail of them, right? Next, okay. After completing course, you will either be a end user, functional, technical, or an administrator. ठीक है. So here they are trying to discuss about some recent success story. We are going to discuss success stories as well, but we are not going to discuss Nigeria ka success story. I mean, we are going to discuss Indian success story. I mean, we do have lot many examples to discuss. I mean, Railway Cup example is a prime example which we will discuss during the course, and through which I will try to explain how ERP or SAP have helped to improve railway ka business. I mean, 10 years back, 10 not 10 years back, around about 15 years back, somewhere in from 2000 to 2014, sorry, 2000 to 2004. I mean, they were thinking of uh, selling railways basically. But after that time, since they have implemented SAP, I mean, IBM and TCS both have implemented SAP in railways. So time since they have introduced SAP, railways have gained the profit. I mean, profit margin of railways have gained in 2 to 3 folds basically. Now railways is no more, what do you say? It is not a liability, no more a liability now. In fact, it is a profit gaining machinery now, right? I mean, in fact, they have come up with this particular freight corridor as well, that is completely dedicated for freight only, and through which they are expecting some more folds of increment basically in railways. So we will discuss about railway ka success story, or how SAP have helped railways to streamline everything, and how it is helping to government as well as end user. So we'll discuss about other success stories as well. So anyways, you can go through this documentation as well, and these are the core modules that we have, right? So you can go through this as well. No, you don't need to go through product strategy. I mean, this particular document is not only specific to you, but I use this document for other modules as well. SAP NetViewer, again, go through the concept. Try to understand what is SAP NetViewer. Don't go into technicalities of it, right? What do they have to say about NetViewer? Let me try to go through it. See, thing is that now let me try to be very clear. I've been certified in 2008, right? And at that time, SF, our course ka pattern, this is how we had our course ka pattern. We had 4 weeks ka training, out of which first week was self-learning. We didn't had any trainer during that particular time, and uh, we had a concept of solution manager at that particular time, and that was e-learning solution manager, where we were supposed to go through everything by ourselves. And SAP NetWeaver, SAP Business Suite, or whatever content that we have covered here is part of that particular 1 week ka training only. Self learning part. So thing is that now the senior consultants that are going to interview you are from the same batch as mine. Okay. And even they have gone through this particular, they are aware about what is a NetWeaver or business suite. What they understand is that key, this is part of curriculum, and that's why they will ask you question regarding it. Now if you try to explain that key, sir, this is not part of curriculum, or this is not what they teach nowadays, they won't really believe you. And I don't really want you guys to waste your time in explaining that this is not part of syllabus. So instead of that, best is that you go through this particular concept. Only one liner or two liner is more than enough. So go through it and then try to answer the questions. Okay. So NetViewer, what is NetViewer? NetViewer is set of applications basically. What you get to see the packages, what mobile companies nowadays has, or now what OTT platforms nowadays have, and they do have packages for different users. So this is kind of same thing. I mean, let's say if I'm a service based industry, let's say TCS. Now, if TCS decides to implement a SAP, then what all modules they require? It is a service-based industry, right? They don't procure any material. They execute services at customer location, online or maybe on-site as well. They don't have any team in there. They don't need any PP team in there, right? So if because they don't procure any material, they don't manufacture any material. If they, if they don't do that, then they certainly don't need those modules, right? So accordingly, for service-based industry, SAP have their own set of applications or modules, right? And this way they have created different packages, and these packages you will get to see in Business Suite. And earlier we saw different products, SAP products, right? APO, SCM, CRM, right? All these particular, let's say if a company has been using 2 to 3 different SAP products, or there are every chances that you might get to see products from different vendors as well, not just SAP. And they all are weaved in together. They all are interconnected with each other. And SAP NetWeaver is going to help you do that. So try to understand the concept from that point of view. They expect only overview from you. They don't really expect any detailed answer. Detail technical के लिए they don't really expect any detailed answer from you. But at least you should be aware about the concept. That is the idea. Okay, so go through this information as well. You can skip this part. uh, SAP landscape is very another important aspect basically. uh, Solution landscape one is, I mean, this is little bit different. Let me try to explain what exactly I mean. SAP landscape is in the sense, here we have three layer system R3 ka. Okay, let me check whether I have a, you can skip all this part, technical part, you can skip all this part. SAP web application server and all those things. Okay, give me just one moment, I'll check whether I have a, you can skip all this part. Okay, even this part, web application server process is not for us. Okay, data structure, repository. So this is a little bit landscape ka concept. Now how does it works? Basically we are going to discuss this part as well. Once we start understanding what is ASAP methodology or what is agile methodology, at that time I will explain the SAP landscape as well. As in, when you go into the project, you will be getting accesses for 3 different server at least. I mean, I'm talking about the clients, right? So whenever we log into any system, we log into a particular client, right? I'm talking about this client. So you are going to get accesses to 3 different clients. When you move into the project, you will get access to development client, quality client, and production client. Okay, so these are the basic client. What exactly we do in there? Why do we need 3 accesses? What is use of it? We are going to discuss all of them. Okay, again, this is important aspect from interview point of view. See, whatever that is important from interview point of view, we are going to cover all of them. Okay, next. So I was talking about the same thing only. You will get access to development server, quality server, and production server. And why do you need accesses in all these 3 server? We are going to discuss about them later on. Okay. Very important from interview point of view. Okay, if you able to explain this particular concept, they won't ask you anything in further details basically. I mean, your selection you might get selected only on this particular answer itself. Same goes with backward and forward scheduling as well. If you answer backward and forward scheduling properly, they won't really go into details of other questions, because that is very much important aspect within SAP. If you understand backward and forward scheduling very well, and if you are able to explain it during the interview session, your selection will be happening just like that. They won't really go into details, or they won't really grill you any further. So anyways, we are going to discuss about the landscape as well, three system landscape, what exactly it means. This is how it works. See, client or your customer is working on production system, right? You as a consultant, you won't have any access to production system. Maybe you might have access to just to display a document, that's it. But you won't have any accesses to configure or to delete anything from the production server. You will be having all the accesses in quality server as well as in development server, but production server may you will have only display ka access, that too only order ka. Now your client or your customer is working on the production system. This quality system and development system are exact replica of your production system. In fact, there is a activity, refresh activity, that happens every month. What they do is that they will refresh this quality server, and they will copy, I mean, they will refresh this quality server from production server. I mean, whatever data that you have in production will copy in the quality system every month. And same happens with the development system as well. They have refresh activity, and every now and then they are going to refresh this quality assurance and develop quality server and development server, and they refresh it with production server. So whatever data that you have in production automatically copies into these servers as well. Now your client is working on the production server, and in case he or she gets any issues, they are going to raise tickets for SAP team, right? Like what we do during the mobile issue. I mean, in case you have any issues with your mobile or your bill payment, you will just call in and you will log in your issue. So your issue will be logged in with some ticket number. They are going to share that complaint number, ticket number with you, and through that you can keep a follow up of your complaint. And same concept applies here as well. Moment a user get an issue, user, that means client, your client and you as a support team or a support team, let's say you are a part of support team, you both are going to work on same platform, basically emailing platform or a ticketing platform, I can say. There are special softwares that are dedicated for ticketing only. So we both, client and us, are working on same platform. Customer is going to raise a ticket for us on that same platform. Moment he raised the ticket, you will immediately get to see that in your bucket. Okay, I mean, of course your SD lead will assign that ticket to you, and then you will be working on it, let's say. Now since you don't have any access to the production system, you are going to replicate the exact issue in the quality system. Now if you have a issue in production, then there are every chances you will get issues in the quality system as well. So at whatever stage that user is experiencing issue, at the same stage you will get issue here as well, since quality system is exact replica of production. So if you identify, once you replicate the issue, then you can start analyzing on it. And let's say if you find that there is some development that is missing, or let's say some configuration might is missing, or let's say there is some development that is required along with ABAPer, you are going to work on it. So in either case, you will be either doing the configurational change or the developmental change here in the development system. System won't allow you to change any configuration setting here in quality system. You can do that in development system. So you will make necessary changes, and then you will move your changes in the quality system. Here you are going to test whether whatever changes that you have done, whether they are working or not. If they are working 100% correctly, then you will ask your client to perform a test in this system. If he or she performs a test and if they found everything is working properly, then you move your request, then you are going to move your transport request in the production system. Now, while working, while using system, even you guys might have generated lot many transport requests, right? Whenever you make any configurational change and you save it, system is going to save that in a particular transport request number, and we transfer this particular transport request from one server to another server, right? Like in this particular situation, once customer performs test in quality system and if he she finds everything is working properly, then you move your changes in the production system and whatever problem will be rectified. That's how it works. That's why we have, this is the way we have the landscape. Anyways, we are going to discuss this part again. Okay, but this is what the basic is. So I'm going to share this document with you all. Okay, so apart from this, I have other documents as well. Like I have created or I have prepared a determination logical document, how plant is determined, how storage location is determined. I mean, you will get to see everything on the same page, right? So make sure you by heart them. I mean, you have to by heart them, there is no other way around. Determination logics are very important to understand the basic of SAP SD or to uh, provide solution or to analyze as well. It is very important, determination logic from interview point of view and from every aspect, very very important. So I will share those document, that particular document with you. Assignment logic as well as determination logic. Determination logic may I have mentioned how item category, schedule line category, free goods determination, storage location, door, staging area, right? How this particular objects gets automatically determined when you create document, right? So we are going to understand the determination logic. At the same time, I'm going to share assignment logic as well, how various organizational units are assigned with each other, what is the assignment logic or what is the relationship between them. So I will share those document as well. Okay, so today itself I will do it. And also I want all of you to share your numbers with me. Okay, I will share my number here so that uh, I can create a WhatsApp group. So anything that I have to communicate, I will communicate through that group only. Okay, so
Yes, sir.
you all can ping me on this number and try to mention this number in your ping, B211248. So I'll create a group with this number only. So in case other communication, future communication will happen through this particular group only. Okay. Okay. So guys, I'm done for the day. Okay. Tomorrow we'll start with other topics. Okay. And yeah, I'm done. If you have any questions, queries, we can discuss them. I
So
hope.
Anurag this side.
Yes, Anurag.
So one question. Let's say I have a domain experience in sales and distribution, and interviewer asks, "Why do you decide to come into SAP and IT?" So
Mhm.
how should we communicate to the interviewer in this case?
See, basically, this is very common question that you will come across, Anurag, basically. Why SAP or why IT? Because IT and pharma is the only sector that will give you vertical growth, basically. Nobody else is going to give you vertical growth, right? So that is the main reason why, I mean, even I used to get this particular question, and my answer was very simple. I mean, money is the main main reason why I want to get into this particular sector. Since I was from electronic and servicing background, so uh, growth prospect there were very limited, basically. And in case you are looking for better future, economical stability or better future or whatever it may be, I mean, IT was the only sector, or pharma was are the only sector that will help me in achieving it, basically. And now and since I have an engineering background, I cannot really go into pharma. That's why IT. And why SAP? Because SAP is the only software that provides end-to-end solution. and that is exactly why it is in demand. I mean, if you check the nearest SAP ka competitor, nearest SAP competitor is not anywhere near to what SAP has been earning in revenues, and that's why SAP basically. So that's how you can frame your answer, Nurag.
Okay, so it should be related to growth and money like that.
Yes, yes, of course, yes. It has to be. I mean, that is the only reason why we get into IT, right? So that
Yeah.
is the, yeah, that is the basic reason. I mean, unless you are, what do you say? Unless you are a code freak or unless you are a IT freak. So that is how it is.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyways, we are going to discuss about these points again. I mean, multiple times basically. So this is what the approach is going to be. Okay. So I mean, I won't be wasting the time in trying to trying to explain BB business blueprint. I mean, that is certainly not going to help for sure. I mean, no matter how much institute will tell you that in internship we are going to execute project and hands-on experience is going to help you. That won't. Trust me, that is not going to help. So instead we'll focus on the basics again, and I'm sure you are going to learn lot many new things once we go through it. Okay, so okay, fine, I'm done for the day. In case you have any questions, we can discuss them, then otherwise see you tomorrow at the same time. Okay.